Okay, so how did originally a young kid from Shanghai end up living in Yorkshire and coming to kart in the UK? So what were the origins of your racing?
I mean, when I was really young, still a kid, around 6 years old, I loved like buying car toys. And one day my dad said, "Okay, let's go have a look around, having playing the indoor kart track in Shanghai." So I went there. First time, I was actually scared to be driving, but first time I actually drive, and I really loved karting. So after this, we went to a more professional club, get your own karts, starting to do like races in the Shanghai and Chinese championship. And after 3 years, I won both championships for 2 years. So we say if I want to continue to going up in my racing career, I have to come aboard to England, European, where there's the best driver in the world. So, which I moved, I think 2012, to Sheffield, which my go-kart team Strawberry Racing was based, and I was going to school there same time as racing. And after 3 years, we won the British Championship and the European Championship in Junior Max. So I'm really happy for the result we achieved, but it's been definitely hard to take because when you were a kid, you don't know well the language you have to learn. Same time to going through to be friendly with the people, to know the people, how they work, how they live is something takes time, but it's a good experience. And after this, we joined the Ferrari Academy 2014. So we did in 2015 we did first year in my single seater. Again, from kart to single seat is a big jump. You have to get used to the pedal shift, tire management, all this. And after this, we finished second in the Italian Championship. Did a couple races in Germany, which did quite good result with some podiums. And we moved to Formula 3 in 2016. First year was Motor Park, did 2 podiums. Second year, last year was not too bad with Prema, did around I think 5 podiums. And this year, been going not too bad.
Many people forget that your total experience in car racing was very little before you came into Formula 3, wasn't it? So it's a little bit similar to Antonio Giovinazzi. People thought he'd been in F3 for a long time, but he had very little experience before. So how much of a challenge was it when you moved in?
Yeah, I mean, I did karting before 2015, and then I did Italian Formula 4 with the same team as this year, Prema, and finished second in that championship. So the key is to moving up when you finish top 3 in the championship. And coming from F4 straight to Formula 3 is definitely a huge step, especially from go-kart. Within 1 year, you already reached Formula 3, which is one of the hardest category in the racing. So to get used to the downforce is a lot of different compared to Formula 4 as well. And of course, the drivers is one of the most talented young drivers in the whole world. So it's a big challenge for me. And after 2 years experience, this year finally come together, show some great results.
There was a while, it was around this time last year when there was talk that you might be moving up to Formula 2 for this year. But are you glad in hindsight that you stayed in Formula 3 for another year? Because you've learnt a lot, haven't you?
Yeah, I mean, stay 1 more year is definitely you can take the past experience to coming through to improve yourself this year. But of course, in the same point with Formula 2 is they introduce a brand new chassis, halo, all the stuff, new clutch. So I was thinking maybe take 1 year away from the new car, so everything will be more prepared for the following year. So that was a plan. I'm quite happy the decision I made, because I see there's a lot of issues in the beginning in Formula 2, and now everything is solved. So I'm happy to hear that as well.
Coming into this year, you were a part of a 5-car lineup at Prema, with Mick Schumacher staying on, Ralph Aaron coming back after a year at High Tech, and also Marcus Armstrong and Robert Shwartzman moving up. So all 5 of you potentially very competitive this year. What were your feelings? Did you think that you had the chance for the championship, or did you think it was going to be very close between you and your teammates?
Yeah, for sure. I think I have the potential for the top 3, and especially after what happened in the early of the season, mid part of the season, I was definitely one of the championship contender. But of course, racing, sometimes things don't go to plan. So for example, after Spa, I had a kind of like a disaster weekend, so everything went a bit downhill after this. But for sure, my teammates, they are really good, and I have a lot more experience compared to the 2 rookies, so I can take the advantage from that. And we're a great team together.
Yeah, I mean, we'll come on to Spa in a minute, but at the beginning of the season, the first race was at Po on the street circuit there, which is obviously very challenging. And that was your first Formula 3 win in the first race of the season. So obviously you then led the championship, and it seemed like it was a win that we'd been waiting for a little while. But was it a big relief to finally get that? And did you think?
Yeah, I mean, of course, like last year from the last race, I've been scored 3 podiums in the last race in last year, 2017. So every time I was just a bit close to get the win, and of course you really wanted your first win. So this year the target was to, of course, first to score the first ever victory in Formula 3, and coming to pole, a straight track. The track I don't know the best, because obviously you don't get a lot of time to do. I did not do any like French F4 or this Renault to learn the track. So coming through there, qualified, did pole in my group. So I said, okay, front row is start is the key, which I gave everything the start, made the move for the lead, and after was not easy to control the race, because with a tiny track, a small arrow can be a big issue, can cause a crash or collision. So yeah, really happy to do the first win, especially is in a historic straight track like this in pole.
Yeah, it's a great place, and you were one of the quickest drivers over the first 6 or 7 race weekends in the championship, and there were some wins that got away, really, weren't there, from you?
Yeah.
There was a race at Zandvoort where you were up towards the front of the grid, and you had a side-by-side with Troitsky at the first corner, and you just dropped into the gravel.
Yeah, I mean, for me, in the beginning, of course, to get as much wins as possible, but in the same time, thinking of the championship. So with Troitsky, he's not fighting for any championship, so of course he was risking a lot, but in the same time, I thought maybe he want a good result to be a bit more safe, so I tried to do a dive on the outside, which he pushed me into the gravel, but was luckily kept my position and scored the points.
Yeah, and then after Zandvoort came the disaster of Spa, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And you were quick all weekend, but I don't think you scored a point, and you had incidents in all 3 races. I mean,
still for now, if you're talking through back to Spa, it's still a hard one to take, even after a couple months away now. But scored a good qualifier. I think one of the best 3 races qualifier I ever did, with a pole position as well in last race. And first race had a puncture, race incident was fine. Second race, of course, have a collision, and also the last race with your teammate is always something really hard to take. I mean, in the team, we always try to play as much fair as possible, and having collision like this, I'm just a bit more sad with what happened in the Spa. Having top 4 qualifying 3 races and coming away with 0 points is something I lost a lot with the championship. Yeah,
and this is collisions with Mick Schumacher in races 2 and 3, wasn't it? Was it a little bit difficult between the 2 of you afterwards?
Yeah, I mean, it's different to take, especially for me. It's really difficult to take, and after this, luckily I had a good summer holidays to reset my mind for next race in Silverstone. But fun on the Saturday and Sunday was something really difficult to take from my side.
I mean, you're really, over your 3 years in Formula 3, I know we've just talked about some incidents, but really I think you've got one of the cleanest records out of anybody. It's generally not you who gets involved in the incidents, is it?
Yeah, exactly. This year, I mean, I did 1 mistake, and apart from that, it's been other people crashing into me. Of course, when you hear your target to finish top 3, and when you're there for the championship, having a lot of like crash like this was not caused by your fault. It's really difficult and tricky, and sad to be having these problems with me. But anyway, we just move on, try to have as much forward as possible for next year.
Yeah. Have you ever sat down thinking, oh, I'm really upset about this, and worked out the number of points you've lost this year? Because I think it would put you pretty close to the championship, wouldn't it?
I mean, especially after Spa, and also in Silverstone, if you remember, in first race, I'd brought 4 new tyre, was P3 in the race. Suddenly my tyre just went bang, explode. With 3 minutes to go, lost another 15 points. It was in the bag, and after this we really tried to. We were sad, but in the same time, me and the engineer, we was working out a bit with the points. Like if I finished the race where I started, I was going leading, but the championship actually. But since did not went our way, unfortunately. But. that's how it is.
Yeah. But as a Chinese driver, Macau's obviously going to be very important to you, and it's important anyway, isn't it?
Yeah.
A great track, and is that one you're really looking forward to?
Yeah, I've been looking forward to since I signed the contract earlier of this year, and Macau is one of the best track I ever drove. I think with such a difficult, high level straight circuit, it's challenging for drivers, but in the same time, I think if you doing well in Macau, you're good in all the rest of the track. I mean, after Macau, the pole seems to be easy if you compare that to Macau, and I've been looking for a special in China near my homeland, and a lot of fans there. So if you do well there, you can get a much brighter future for your racing career.
Yeah, good. Yeah. And where's that future going to take you, do you think? Are you looking to move up to Formula 2 next year, or maybe?
Yeah, I mean, the plan is to go Formula 2 next year. It was already the plan last year, but we still 1 more year. So this year I'm really looking forward to moving up to Formula 2.
There's going to be quite many of you from Formula 3, aren't there? Because it's been so close this year. I think there's probably 8 or 9 drivers probably
Formula
looking to move up.
GP3, all these categories. I think there'll be a lot of people, especially with some Formula 2 drivers already there this year. So the field will be big, but it will be difficult to find a great seat there, basically.
Yeah, I was going to say, you talk about a seat. Any idea where you want to go, or does that?
Nothing has been decided yet, but of course, from my side, I would like to go with a top 4 team at least at least you know your material, your team is good, so you can really focus just on the driving. But obviously, it's difficult, so we're still trying to get a seat.
Yeah, well, you're already driving for one of them in Formula 3. So.
Yeah, I mean, it's difficult with, you know, Formula 2, you only got 2 seats each team, and some team, like a lot of people, they are staying 1 more year, so.
Yeah. All right, so if Prema could run 8 cars, lots of people would be happy, but they can only run 2.
Yeah, you only got 2.
Okay, great. Well, thank you very much for coming in, Joe, and really nice to have you here.